Hello, and welcome to the episode of Todd Talks. Todd Talks, people listen. Hopefully, is that creepy enough for you? That's good, because today is going to be one of the creepiest episodes in Todd Talk history. Because I have to somehow break down the insanity of Carnage versus Lucy. And no, I don't mean insanity like, oh, why did Death Battle make this matchup? I know why they made this matchup, and it's because these two are so insane. And they're, incredibly powerful beings that just, yeah. So I'm going to preface this by saying a few things. First off, while I am somewhat well versed in Carnage knowledge because of my time watching, Spider-Man shows and some of the comics, I have never heard of Lucy before. Literally the preview, revealed preview for the episode, and I did not watch Elfen Lied, or say Lead. It's German, because I don't have any desire to have nightmares. I can barely sleep as it is. It's a mental condition. But it's not really a mental condition, but it feels like that at times. So I don't need to see a show about a girl ripping people to shreds, and I don't need that in my life. So I went as basic as I could, but as detailed as I could without having to watch the show. And I think it got some interesting things, and including a Todd talk first. More on that in a sec. So yeah, so I also need to preface this by saying I did see the RTX live stream of this episode. They didn't show all of it. They did not show all of this. I do not know who won, but they actually showed like a pretty large portion of the battle. I'd actually be surprised if there was more than a minute left in the battle, which is I think that was a little too much to show. But hey, I could be wrong. There could be like another minute to go. I don't know. So yeah, so I have seen some of it, and I have seen some of the breakdown. So, but I don't think it was the full. They said it was not the full episode, and I believe them. So, yeah. All right, let's go. So, Carnage, aka Cletus Kasady, one of the most psychotic people in any universe. I mean, if you saw their preview of Carnage, he basically had his whole family killed in a weird string of events, and then he actually, including, they didn't mention in the preview, but when his father tried to protect him from his grandmother, right, because she was trying to kill him because he killed the cat, right? So in court, Cletus lied about why his father killed his grandmother, so he would get the electric chair. Yeah. And then he burned down his orphanage, and then he went on this murderous rampage until he was finally caught. And then he was, what do you call it, cellmates, there you go, cellmates with Eddie Brock, aka Venom, who birthed another symbiote that just so happened to find Kasady agreeable and went into his bloodstream, and thus Carnage was born. Now, as noted in the Venom death battle, the symbiotes are not naturally evil. They adapt their personalities based on the host, which is why when it went to Flash Thompson, he became Agent Venom, and then like Super Agent Venom once he had the symbiote purified on Clintar, which is the home of the symbiotes. Now, because this particular symbiote was both an offspring of Venom and went into Cletus' bloodstream, it full-on adapted his insanity complex, and so Carnage is easily one of the scariest villains in the Marvel Universe. I mean, this is a guy who once took on Spider-Man and Venom at the same time, got pinned down by both of them, and just went pfft. Okay? Yeah, he is literally defined as being as strong, if not stronger than Venom. And technically he's stronger than Venom because of the feat I just told you about. There's a panel of him just knocking both Spider-Man and Venom off with a single push. I mean, he's that strong. Okay? So, and he's technically, his symbiote is literally defined as being more advanced than Eddie Brock's, because Eddie can manipulate his body to a certain extent, but he can't make projectiles, despite what Death Battle showed, and he can't form weapons. He can't go, like, for lack of a better term, full Green Lantern and, like, create constructs. There we go, create constructs. He can't. Carnage can. He's done it multiple times. He's made swords out of his hand. He's extended his claws. He's manipulated his size. He has, grew big, grew small. He's ripped people to shreds with various weapons. And in one case that no one can explain, he literally went into the internet. Yeah, it happened. So we don't know how. We choose not to explain. All right, but basically, Cletus is in front of a computer. The symbiote went into the computer and came out of another computer to threaten a guy. How, we don't know, but yeah, this is what he does. But just as twisted outside of his strength and his capabilities is his regen ability. Like any symbiote, he can regenerate his host, and because of the bloodstream factor, because he's literally in the body, he can regenerate at an absolutely insane level. Like literally, it's not even funny how fast this guy. He was ripped in half and thrown into space, and the symbiote kept Cletus alive long enough so that whenever they landed, I don't exactly know what happened. Whenever they landed, they could literally just go back together. He was basically eviscerated by a bomb. It was in the Marvel the Marvel event called Axis. And long story short, this spell was used to reverse, let's call it, morality centers. Okay, so a good guy became a bad guy, and a bad guy became a good guy. And Carnage is one of the bad guys that got hit by this, right? So Carnage went from a psychotic killer to a remorseful, giddy hero, right? And in the end, this bomb that was created by Apocalypse, who was one of the people who got reversed, he was a good guy at the time, for the record. Long story. He actually covered a bomb with his body because he knew Spider-Man couldn't stop it with his webbing, and it just left puddles of him like all over New York. This bomb was literally designed to wipe out humanity, which Cletus technically is, right? So he gets literally eviscerated, blown all over you only see puddles of the guy, right? And apparently a few issues after Axis, he's fighting Nova. So yeah, he came back from that. Okay, he's had his head ripped off. He's eaten a grenade and not blinked. He has had his face eaten off, which I don't want to think about, and it just popped right back. He has healed limbs. He has healed organs. He is healed from a single cell. Okay, he has healed from a single cell, and that's quite frightening. But it's because of Carnage being in the bloodstream and not being a regular symbiote like Venom. So yeah, that's the thing. Now, there's some debate about how immune Carnage is to his weaknesses of a symbiote, because a symbiote is naturally weak against both sonics and fire. However, because of his adaptation and his just overwhelming powers, Carnage has over time developed an immunity of sorts to sonics and to fire. And it's said in one of the threads I read that he's technically immune to both now because of getting the Darkhold. I can't confirm that, and the Death Battle mentioned in their preview that he was only slightly immune, so maybe that's not exactly canon. It's tricky, but if they're going to his prime, he might be more resistant, but it's really unclear. This battle is going to be so much about interpretation. I think more than even recent battles, with the exception of maybe Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange, this is definitely a battle about interpretation, about how you interpret what these characters can do, and I'll see why in a sec. So, yeah, Carnage is easily one of the villains that Spider-Man fears most. He once infected an entire town with his symbiotes, and then when the Avengers, including Spider-Man, came in, he infected them too. And then a special task force was called in, and they were infected. The only thing that saved them was Agent Venom, and I'm not exactly sure how, but he helped take down Carnage and save the whole thing. So he can infect people with his own symbiote and create little Carnage clones, which is even more terrifying. So yeah, this is easily one of the most psychotic, most insane, most powerful, most deadly beings in the Marvel universe. And this is the thing, this is a universe of Doctor Doom and Galactus and everything. So you can reason with them. You cannot reason with Carnage. Okay. Now let's talk about a little girl named Lissy. Oh my gosh. I still can't get over that reveal preview. So much blood. So much blood. Alright, so in an alternate realm, or Earth, I guess I should say, there is a species called the Deconi. Apologies if I'm saying this slightly wrong. I believe it's called the Deconi. And Deconi are a race of beings with incredible powers that literally infect human cells to make more Deconi. And this has naturally caused a little bit of a let's call it a little bit of a rift between the human race, to where they naturally fear and outcast the Daikoni, and a few of them realized that one of them was actually their queen, and her name is Niu, or Lucy. And so they decided, hey, I got an idea. Let's capture this little girl, put her in a testing facility, and see what we can do to her. Bad idea. Okay. So yeah, Lucy is the queen of the Dakoni, and because of that, she has more power than like all of them combined. It's not even funny, and I barely looked up the story because I really couldn't handle this kind of thing. But basically, she was eventually freed. She freed herself basically, and then she was found by a couple of humans who were nice to her, but when you're the queen of Dakona, it doesn't exactly work out well for you. So naturally she had to face a lot of things and kill a lot of things and kill a lot of more things, and killed a thing which I can't believe she did, but whatever. I'm not gonna get into the story of Lucy, but let's just say that she is one little girl you never want to cross in the street. Okay, but throughout her adventures, guess we can call him that. She has done some pretty insane things herself. Let's just talk about her breakout. So eventually she was able to break out of the containment facility, science facility that she was being held at. She did it buck naked, which is why one of the reasons I won't watch this anime. Sorry, folks. Hey, I gotta have standards somewhere. But yeah, so she basically broke out buck naked without touching a single one of them. This is because a Dakoni has vectors. Vectors can literally be defined as invisible arms that can only be perceived by other Dakoni, and she uses these arms to literally rip people to shreds, which is ironic because that's technically not their function. Their original function was to infect other humans so that other Dakoni could be born. But Lucy, as their queen, has more power than all of them, and so she uses her vectors to literally rip, pierce, penetrate. Same as pierce. Slash, fillet, and okay, that sounds like fire. Okay, you get the idea. She can cut people to shreds. Okay, watch the Death Battle preview. I mean, there's so much blood everywhere. All right, and yeah, so her vectors are invisible and killers. Every single one of them can kill you, and in several different ways. And she's actually, if you could argue that she's kind of telekinetic, but it's actually just her vectors. But yeah, she's able to do just about anything she wants to people, and that's actually very, very terrifying. But what's even more insane is that her vectors have, let's call it levels. Okay, so the levels are as follows: low frequency. This was their intended purpose. So they were meant to, again, go into a person and infect them with a virus, because that's how Dakoni are born, and so that they would bring more Dakoni, right? The second one is what's called medium frequency, and that's what Lucy usually uses to like rip, pierce, and just slice everyone to bits, right? And then there's the high frequency, which most people didn't think was possible in the universe. Didn't think it was possible, because when she goes high frequency, she literally creates explosions. Like, her vectors vibrate at such a fast frequency that they literally blow crap up. She blew up they said it was a 2-kilometer hole in an island. All right, and the island then sunk. Okay, and so that's a pretty powerful explosion. So, and her vectors, originally they had range. They had range of about 7 feet, give or take, right? So, but then as her power evolved, as the manga and the anime went on, they got better, they got stronger, and they were able to reach so far that they can actually reach not only around an island, because remember she had to create that explosion. They went into space. They went into space, right? So, okay. And here's the Todd talk first. You ready for this? Are you ready for this? Okay. So, the space feat is very important to calculate, because her vectors went from ground level. She was on the Earth, and they went into space. So let's just go off the Samurai Jack after Samurai feat and say the Kármán line, which is 62 miles above the Earth. Okay. So, it's stated in the manga, which is where this happened. It didn't happen in the anime. So in the manga, it is stated that it went from the ground to space, like let's just use the Carmen line, in less than a minute. Okay? So this means that her vectors went from her body into space less than a mile per second. Okay, because they say less than a minute. So even, let's just ballpark it and we go up to 60 seconds. Her vectors are capable of traveling 3,720 miles per hour. Okay, that's massively hypersonic. All right, so yeah, that's Todd Talk first. I did super math research. Yeah, so, but yeah, so, and because of this, her vectors are able to do incredible things. Now, I've mentioned vectors a lot. The question is, how many vectors does she have? As noted in the manga, not the anime, the manga, she has 28 vectors. So she has 28 of these arms doing whatever the heck she wants, right? So she can do a lot, and she's done a lot. She has completely eviscerated people without blinking. Okay, she probably blinked once or twice. She's caught bullets. All right, with her vectors, she's caught them and then deflected them. So in technicality, her hands literally went like bang, and the bullets hit the guards. Like that's how it's interpreted in the manga. She has stopped people from hurting her. She has, pushed people off her. She even used her vectors as a shield once. I didn't get to see that panel, but apparently it happened. She used her vectors as a shield once to shield her from damage. So yeah, so they were, if they can stop bullets, it does make sense. But that shows how strong these vectors are. To my knowledge, you cannot. How do I say this? You cannot harm a vector. Not that you could even see it, but unless you're Dakoni. So yeah, they're pretty much invulnerable. And so yeah, that's pretty dope. And as for her feats, aside from killing numerous people, she once killed a god. Her name was Anna. Lucy and Anna. Yeah. So yeah, so this god is important because this god was apparently omniscient and omnipotent. Okay? So you could interpret that several different ways, but everyone feared Anna. And now they all fear Lucy. Okay? One of these guys dying, this guy that she killed on the island she blew up, his last word was Anna because he clearly referred to Anna as a god. All right, and yet Lucy was able to kill this god who's apparently omnipotent and omniscient. So yeah, take that as you will. That being said, Anna has her limits, and this is definitely going to be one of those interpretation things because it's said that the more she uses her powers, the weaker she becomes because, and I quote, entropy will win. Or will win out, or something like that. I'm sorry. Well, let's forget the quote part. Okay, it says eventually will win out, or something like that. And entropy is defined as disorder. It's a weird word. I mean, it's actually a mathematical equation and a thermodynamics equation. Let's just ignore this. So, but anyway. In the manga, this is actually proven because remember the space feat? When she did the space feat, she did it so that her arms could spread all over the earth and literally eradicate mankind. Like that was what she was going to do. But because she pushed herself too far, she died before she could do it. Like her body literally withered away because it was too much of a strain on her. So yeah, it's a lot. But that being said, she doesn't have to push herself that often when, she can just about kill anyone. So that's Lucy, everyone. Go watch Elfen Lied. It's German. Boy. Alright, so this is another one of those death battles where I come into this not sure. Boy, this chair is squeaky. Okay. So I came into this death battle not sure who I'm going to pick because this is kind of it's forced me to an immovable object because Carnage's regen is off the chain. All right, it's so broken. He has died, and he has had the symbiote taken from him. He's lost the symbiote occasionally. He has died. Okay, but there's usually always a very specific reason for doing so. Lucy has died because she pushed herself too far. And as many people have noted on Screw Attack forums, she can still be hurt. It's kind of like a Jotaro Kujo kind of thing, where her vectors are her stand, but she can still be hurt. All right? So if you are able to get by her vectors, you can still hurt her. And if you kill her, or sorry, if you do enough damage, you will kill her. Now, it's said that she has regenerative abilities. All right, like in the manga, Nayu, who was the girl, Lucy is the Daikoni queen. Nayu tried to kill herself because she was tired of killing people, right? And Nayu woke up, and Lucy woke up and woke up. She has split personality disorder. Did I forget to mention that? Oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention that. Wink. Lucy woke up and healed her. Now you could still see the cuts on her arm, which means it's not a perfect regeneration. So, and again, she died at the end of the series, okay, trying to do this feat because her body couldn't heal fast enough. So comparing regeneratively, Lucy does not match up against Carnage. Lucy is faster than Carnage, okay? The space feat proves it because I know it sounds like power scaling, but it's not, because if she could do that at her maximum reach, like if her maximum reach is going to space at 3,720 miles per hour, there's no reason to think she can't do that here. And again, she's swatted bullets away and cut people to shreds without them even noticing. Okay, so she is faster than Carnage. The question here is, can she kill Carnage? And I don't know. Okay, there's been talk about like the vectors actually doing molecular damage, and that could kill Carnage. There's talk about the vectors actually have radiation damage, which could hurt Carnage. And the fire ability, because remember, her vectors can explode, that could hurt Carnage. But I don't know if it will. On the converse, because of Lucy's speed with her vectors, she could easily block just about all of Carnage's attacks. Because she's got 28 of them, and Carnage will not be able to see them. Carnage cannot see those things because he's not a Daikoni, right? So technically, he'd just be swatting at Lucy, and Lucy could just be, using her 28 vectors to just block his every shot. And so, yeah, he'd eventually get hits on it, and I've watched Death Battle, they show her getting hit, so, it's not it's not an absolute defense to Golgara. It's not an absolute defense. So the question is, who can kill who first? Okay? Because here's the thing. Nayu will not want to willingly hurt anyone. Lucy don't care. Alright? And while entropy will win out, whatever that means, I really got to find a better definition, because it can't just be about disorder, right? Because then why was a Justice League team named? And moving on. It's a question of how far she has to push herself. And here's the thing. I want you to call your mind back to the Death Battle cast a few episodes ago, where they were debating a fight between Might Guy from Naruto and All Might from My Hero Academia, which I really need to get into. They said that the rules of Death Battle specifically state that the first person to die, right? The first person to die wins. And why I bring up the Death Battle cast is that the Might Guy has what he calls I think it was like the 8th chakra. I did not watch Naruto. The 8th chakra, and when he opens the 8th chakra, he basically becomes his unstoppable force. He cannot be beaten, and they said that but the catch is that he will die, right? And the only reason he didn't die was because Naruto saved him, but then he couldn't save him enough, and so he's paralyzed in the rest of the series, right? So if in that death battle between All Might and Might Guy did unlock the 8th chakra and then killed All Might, he would win. Even though afterwards he technically would have died afterwards. It's literally about who dies first. I hate doing this. I really do. I went against the symbiote last time and picked Venom, it's picked Bane, but that was because of ego, and I really wanted Bane to win. I have no bias here. But something just tells me that Lucy will be able to just lock down Carnage and then vibrate at that high frequency and blow him to shreds, then recollect him and blow him up again. Dang it. Okay, I'm going to pick Lucy. Okay, yeah, she's faster than Carnage. She's not more durable, but the vectors are going to be the tipping point. Dang. I'm not going to be mad if I lose, because I guess I just have a soft spot for, people who go up against symbiotes. I don't know why. I really don't. I don't even know Lucy that well. Oh, well. But yes, I am picking Lucy. There you go. Oh, heaven help me. I could just hear Natsu going, "I'm gonna pick Carnage, and then you're gonna have a win over Todd." And I'm like, crap. Whatever. So yeah, I'm picking Lucy. And with that, I will end this episode of Todd Talk. Who do you think is gonna win in the battle of the psychotic killers? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, I will be able to break down the death battle next week after it shows. And I look very much forward to seeing who pulls this out. So, I thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I know you were listening, and I'll see you around.